February 20th, 2010. We're walking today on the Nichols Lake walking trail. It's in the Western Commons in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So, hoping to get past Nichols Lake on deep into wilderness area, hoping to get to 9 Mile River. We'll see how it goes. Brought my snowshoes, but as you can see, the trail's pretty well beat down by the ATVs, so I left them. Anyway, if I see anything interesting, I'll turn the camera back on. Time for a little bit of learning about birch trees. Some of you may know, some of you may not. In front of me is the one of the trees that grows in this area, the white birch. Over on my pack is the yellow birch. So what's the difference? The white birch is probably what most people are familiar with. It's the one that the natives make canoes out of, because the sheets of bark will come off in big strips if you peel it. I'm not going to peel it because it hurts the tree, but it's not the best example here. It's a young tree, but this tree also, you can be tapped in the spring, that you may have seen some people do, and have a nice drink of sap. Now over here, you can tell right away walking up to it, it's got a yellow tinge. Whoa! And see how feathery the bark is on it? It doesn't come off in strips. It's just really thin. It wouldn't be suitable for making, you know, anything that need big strips of bark out of, like canoes or baskets or whatever. But this tree here, if you take a limb and break it off and peel it, it'll give you a wintergreen taste. It's quite nice, and something my friend told me I didn't know is a lot of times in restaurants when you get the mint flavored toothpicks, this is the tree they make it out of. They find yellow birch and they make it into toothpicks, and they don't have to flavor it. So it's kind of cool. It gives your mouth a really nice fresh feeling when you use it. Anyway, hope you learned something. It's really nice when you find two species of trees you want to compare right next to each other, kind of like those birches. These two, spruce and fir, is what I want to show you now. Here's a good sample of a spruce tree, and here's a fir. What's the difference? Well, one thing I used to tell my scouts is when you put your hand around it, spruce often is a little spiky, where your fir are softer. So spiky spruce, friendly fir. But there's more to it than that. If you look at the end of this bough here, the needles go all the way around the limb. If you look at the fir, it's flat. The other thing about it, if you actually pull a needle off, the fir tree are flat. They won't spin between your two fingers. The spruce, on the other hand, are squarish, so they will tend to spin between your two fingers. So that's a little quick and dirty tutorial on the difference between a spruce and a fir. across the bridge over Nickel Run. Whoop. Shouldn't walk and try to record. Anyway, the Nichols Lake. Pretty little lake, nice clear lake in the summer. Here's another view of the lake. I just circled around to the north side here and following the trail. ATVers having a bit of fun. Nichols Lake. If I was in need of making a fire, be a good place to start collecting. Old man's beard, some dead spruce or fir. The resin in the wood makes it really good for lighting fires. Standing dead trees that have been dead for quite a while. There's some prime pickings there to dry. I know I've been complaining about the lack of snow. On Tuesday night we got over 30 centimeters. That's over a foot. But unfortunately Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and today have all been above freezing, so it's just wet. Wet, wet. Everything's wet. So it's going to be a challenge to get the fire going today. After about an hour and a half of heavy slogging through the slush, I reached the St. Margaret's Bay Old Coach Road. This used to be a stagecoach road years ago. Anyway, this one will be a bit straighter than the one I was just on. The one I was on was looping back and forth, switch back and switch back. But for anybody that's never been to Nova Scotia, all their water has a dark color, tannic acid. So it's doesn't hurt the water, you know, any more than any other water in the wild. Just where I come from, the water is a lot clearer. But well, I got about a kilometer and a half from where I wanted to go, but I decided to turn back due to the weather seems to be changing on me, and it took a lot longer to get in here. So that's the way it goes sometimes, but you got to know your abilities and you got to know what you're working with. So anyway, I never think of that as a disappointment. I always tend to think of that as a chance to come back and visit an area. So I'll be back in another season perhaps. Well, it's the end of the day. I've got quite a hill behind me to climb up. So thanks for joining me again, and we'll see you next time.